you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Google it if you want to know more. Any day, any...
And you turned on Netflix that night. We were like, holy fuck, I'm about to see the greatest live sporting event of all time.
Dana White has confirmed the long-awaited showdown between Jake Paul and Andrew Tate, and this is no ordinary fight. Unlike Jake's usual stunts where he faces retired or irrelevant opponents, this time he's up against Tate, an in his prime fighter who knows how to land punches that hurt both physically and mentally. This isn't just another carefully curated spectacle. It's a real test for Jake Paul. The stakes are high and fans are eagerly anticipating the intense clash between these two polarizing figures. This fight has purpose. Tate enters ready to avenge Mike Tyson's legacy, aiming to expose Jake Paul as less of a fighter and more of a PR gimmick. With muscles inflated by hype and possibly a little help from the needle, Jake's true fighting ability will finally be put to the test.
Don't worry about Conor McGregor you up. Don't worry about Floyd Mayweather you up. You only want to lose to them so you can say, well, I lost to Conor McGregor. Why don't you lose to an old man who's retired? I live in the real world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to this sport.
Dana White confirmed the fight and revealed Andrew Tate's motivation is deeply personal, adding even more intensity.
You know, there's a lot of, in Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time. I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way to fight, I don't know what people expect.
Tate isn't stepping into the ring for glory or cash, though $3 million isn't bad. This fight is about vengeance, pride, and restoring the integrity of a sport Jake Paul has treated like his personal TikTok stage. After Jake's painfully awkward bout with Mike Tyson, a fight some are called tragic comedy, Tate didn't hold back, ready to show Jake what real fighting is all about.
Well, I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
Don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful.
Tate accused Jake Paul of disrespecting not only Tyson, but the sacred art of boxing itself. For Tate, it wasn't just an underwhelming fight. It was an insult to every warrior whose blood, broken bones, or been knocked out in pursuit of greatness.
You know, where his head's at in life in terms of what he wants to do.
Okay, well, you didn't answer the question. Do you have any interest in it?
I don't know. I mean, you know, Andrew has messaged me over the past few days, and
let's not sugarcoat it. Jake's fight with Tyson was more theater than sport. Tyson, nearing 60 and wearing a knee brace, still gave Jake a run for his money. But did Jake walk out humble? Absolutely not. He strutted around like he just unified all the belts, crowning himself the greatest showman in boxing. The backlash was swift and brutal. Critics called it a farce, fans tore him apart online, and even Tyson supporters felt their idol had been reduced to a pawn in Jake's never-ending clout chase. Now, here comes Andrew Tate, stepping out of retirement like a gladiator from the Coliseum, ready to do what Tyson called shut Jake Paul up for good.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better.
Tate's approach is far from subtle. When has it ever been? He's made it crystal clear that Jake needs a reality check, and Tate is eager to deliver. Forget Instagram-worthy press conferences or fake smiles. Tate is betting $3 million of his own money on this fight. Winner takes all. For him, this isn't about a paycheck or a social media stunt. It's a powerful statement.
Let's do it. No, seriously.
I'm about
do
the
it.
action. Like, I'm less talk now. Let's just fucking go.
Yo, but you know for a fact, me and Jake will travel to Romania. We will make this happen. We'll do it wherever you want, whatever conditions you want.
2 brothers, 1 cage.
Tate's fight is a bold reminder that boxing belongs to real fighters, not wind-up influencers with bloated egos and questionable training. With 4 world championships, decades of grit, and a highlight reel that screams danger, Tate's credentials back every word. And then there's Jake. Oh, Jake, the talking embodiment of a modern boxing era nobody asked for. Fresh off his Tyson escapade, Paul did what he does best, dismiss the criticism and double down on the theatrics. He waved off the backlash as jealousy because, of course, anyone who doesn't worship Jake Paul must be bitter about his success, right? He even mocked Tate, labeling him a washed-up kickboxer, and couldn't resist taking potshots at Carl Froch while he was at it. That's Jake's playbook. Drag people into his circus, toss out a few insults, and laugh all the way to the bank. But here's the twist. This time, Jake isn't just playing the villain. He's walking a razor-thin line between being a loudmouth who thrives on controversy and a fighter who needs to prove he's more than just hype. A loss to Tate won't just dent his ego. It'll crack the very foundation of the empire built on carefully orchestrated fights and viral moments.
Drew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's run
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight. You might have a fight.
We all know Dana White isn't just a promoter. He's the chess master of combat sports. Jake Paul versus Andrew Tate, that's his latest checkmate. Word is, White had finally had enough of Jake's circus act. Years of influencer-driven boxing turning real fighters into memes. Instead of rolling his eyes like the rest of us, White saw the chaos and thought, let's steer this shipwreck. He stepped in, gave it a shiny narrative, and voila! Jake Paul is now set to face a man who's not here for the clout, but for blood. Enter Andrew Tate, a fighter with real credentials and enough disdain for Paul to power the entire Vegas Strip.
Jake is actually quite a nice guy. I met Jake and he's actually quite a nice guy. I wanted to jump back in there and teach him all a lesson. And there were some fights on the card, some big fights for me being organized in November.
White didn't sugarcoat it either, calling the fight the ultimate blend of skill, spectacle, and storytelling. A fancy way of saying this is going to be brutal, but you'll love every second. And when Dana White talks like that, you know he means business. This isn't just about throwing punches, it's about crafting a spectacle so massive that it drags combat sports out of the influencer mud Jake Paul has been stomping around in. Dana's fingerprints are all over this fight, from brokering peace between the two camps, because Jake's people probably wanted every advantage possible, to ensuring the fight rules didn't turn into a TikTok challenge. White's involvement has transformed what could have been a cringy social media spat into the fight everyone's talking about.
While you're next training, I know you're only 18 days away from a fight, but next time you're training and you want some sparring, fly to Romania and we'll spar and we'll film it and we'll decide if we want to release it or not afterwards. But I have no problem. We could have a sparring match anytime. That's easy,
let's
right?
Let's do it, guys. I'm down for that, but we can't release it for free. That's like, it's like giving the people what they want.
Let's not pretend Dana's just here for honor and glory. The man's a numbers guy. Jake's Tyson fight, yes, that disaster, still pulled in 65 million viewers and over $18 million in ticket sales. The fight might have been a train wreck for boxing purists, but for Dana, it was a gold mine. He knows there's money to be made in these influencer bouts. But here's the catch. If it flops, it drags everyone's credibility down, including his. So, being Dana, he stacked the deck. Andrew Tate isn't just a random name on a spreadsheet. He's the kind of fighter who doesn't pull punches in or out of the ring.
Really dislike Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him, I understand him. I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living out of Jake Paul. I'm not some washed up UFC fighter. I'm not smaller than him. I would beat the living shit out of him. And if he wants to fight, I'll fight him again. We reckon he knows that. However, I do understand what he's doing. I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle. I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well. 3, 4, 5 years of training combat sports. You can box.
Tate has made it his personal mission to call out Jake Paul for every misstep, overinflated ego moment, and poorly choreographed win. For Tate, Jake's career is just a reality show with gloves. While Jake's fans tweet about his revolutionary impact on boxing, Tate is reminding everyone that real fighters don't pad their records with retired athletes and gimmick matches. They step into the ring with legitimate challengers.
Let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the future. We'll see. Perhaps.
Tate had been especially vocal about the Tyson fight, calling it a cash grab and a stain on Tyson's legacy. Tyson, wearing a knee brace and struggling to get into the ring, faced Jake, who strutted around afterward like he beaten Prime Tyson. For Tate, that wasn't just disrespectful, it was an insult to boxing itself. According to him, Jake belongs in a clown show, not in the same conversation as true legends. Tate isn't all talk. He's mastered the art of psychological warfare, tearing into Jake's reputation at every turn. From branding him a fraud to mocking his amateur theatrics, Tate's strategy is as calculated as it is relentless. He's out to strip Jake of his bravado piece by piece, leaving nothing but insecurity and regret. But here's the kicker. It's not just words. Tate has promised a reality check like no other, vowing to show Jake what it truly means to fight someone who doesn't see boxing as a quick cash grab, but as a test of everything you've got: skill, heart, and grit.
I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house, Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother. And
meanwhile, Jake is still doing his usual thing, mocking Tate, driving Carl Froch back into the mix, and generally being the loudest guy in the room. But let's face it, this time Jake knows the stakes. If he loses, it's not just his record that takes a hit, it's the entire empire. He's built on bravado, hype, and a carefully curated roster of hand-picked opponents. For Jake, this fight isn't just another payday. It's a gamble that could either solidify his brand or blow it up in spectacular fashion. So here we are. Dana White pulling the strings, Andrew Tate delivering a masterclass in mind games, and Jake Paul standing at the edge of a career-defining cliff. This isn't just another spectacle. It's a battle for what combat sports will look like in the future. Will it belong to real fighters with scars to prove it, or will influencers continue to run the show? One thing's for sure, when the bell rings, the gloves won't be only things coming off.